Yeah. And that gesture we did in G minor, which is kind of a weird key. You seemed happy last time in that key.
Hello, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. All right. So we're going to do Hine Matov in F. Okay. Hold on. This pencil's junk.
There you go.
No, it's okay. I need the kind that isn't real.
Oh,
So we're talking about okay, that's good. Do, di, li, si minor. Good. Just as written.
Do, di, li,
There's people.
That's not the one we're singing? Oh. Is that the one we're singing?
Indeed.
You're the reason I did 5,000 steps today, Rabbi John.
That was so fun, Russ. It's the
Visham Ruven Israel Kashaman. Okay. And then this is the one that we want to check keys for. I think it should be in like F minor. Does that make sense? No. Oh, F sharp minor. Kol haolam. Oh, you said G. You say G. G minor. Yeah, that's even better. Kol haolam kulo. Gesher tzar meod. Kol haolam. Gesher tzar. Kol haolam. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful.
I think we're good.
Okay, so hi everyone out there. Shabbat Shalom if you're starting to tune in. And hello. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is that the best thing? Russ and I spent a lot of time together today. It was awesome. We walked. Russ and I walked. Russ is like,
You like that one?
right, let's join together in Hine Matov. I believe the words can be found on page 10 in your prayer books. Hine Matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. 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 Hine matov u'manayim, hine matov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. You know, it's springtime. I'm feeling love in the air. We're going to sing Dodi Lee from the Song of Songs, perfect for the season. And the words are on page 11 of your prayer book, also 129. All right. Dodi Lee, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi Lee, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Misot olam min hamidbar, misot olam, mikuteret mor mor ulevona, mor ulevona. Dodi Lee, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi Lee, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Libavtini achoti kala, libavtini kala, libavtini achoti kala, libavtini kala. Dodi Lee, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi Lee, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Orit zavon uvoit eman, urit zavon uvoit eman. Dodi Lee, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim. Dodi Lee, va'ani lo haroeh b'shoshanim.
Love that song from the Song of Songs, the springtime, the holidays, the festivals, Passover, recently out of our systems. Have you had a pizza or beer this week in the last day or two? Some people very happily. For those of you that have never been to Beth Am before, it's a delight to welcome you. We are a no-scold synagogue, so if you ate pizza and beer all week, it doesn't bother us as well. Cantor Jamie Spall, Rabbi Heath Wattenmaker. My name is John Prosnit. We use this book and we go right to left, right when you came in. If you're joining us via streaming, it is so wonderful to have you to join us on this sacred day of rest and reflection as well. Invite you to turn to page 2 or 120 in your book as we light the Shabbat candles. We invite forward the family of our bar mitzvah, Ilana Sachs, Anita Kaplan, and Sharon Sachs, as well as Lauren Sachs, Richard Kaplan, and Richard Sachs. And Avi, we need you, of course,
And
as well.
Avi and Micah, why don't you come
of
up
course.
too?
So Avi is light, and the cantor will sing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik Shel Shabbat.
Avi, I'm going to ask you to slide over right next to Cantor here, and we're going to turn to the words of Kiddush, which are on page 5 or 123. Maybe your parents and grandparents can file in right behind you so everybody streaming can see this wonderful family, and we'll join in the words of Kiddush together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei b'riah hagafen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho B'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemaaseh boreshit ki hu yom tehillah lemikra kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu Be'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim b'shat kodeshecha be'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat l'chaim. How is it? Apple juice. I think it's grape juice. So, mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. So. Invite you to turn to page 20 or 138. The words of Lecha Dodi. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And before the 9th verse, invite everyone to rise and face the west as we watch the sun set in a few hours and we formally welcome in Shabbat.
Shabbat שלום, עטרת פניו, גם בשמחה ובצהונה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, יאי ליי ליי, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יאי ליי, יא לה 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 לקראת, יאי ליי ליי לה, פני שבת, נקרב אליי, יא לה 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 לך דודי, יאי ליי ליי לקראת, יאי ליי ליי לה, פני שבת, נקרב אליי.
Our call to worship is on page 28, the words of the Baruch Hu. Words of Roll Into Dark, our nighttime prayer before the Shema. You either know them or you don't, but they're also on the song sheet on page 2. Number 2.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day,
seated. Stella's on her way up already, I see, to help us in the words of the V'ahavta, the words that say we shall teach these sacred instructions to our children, which is on page 36.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'chol nafshecha u'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anohi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibartam bam, v'shivtecha b'beitecha, uvletecha v'derek, uv'shokbecha, uv'kumecha, uv'shartam le'ot al yadeha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uv'tavtam al nizot beiteha u'bishareha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohehem ani Adonai Elohehem asher hotzeitehem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohehem. Adonai Elohehem emet.
Continue our service on page. Continue our service on page 40 or 158 with our Song of Freedom, Micha Mocha.
Fada Adonai et Yaakov, ug'alo miad chazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
Side A, Psalm 3, our prayer for the evening, for shelter and protection, Hashkivenu.
from all harmful things. Oh, Adonai, keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right.
Page 44, we sing our song for Shabbat from the book of Exodus. Page 44 or 162, the words of Hashem.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת ויהי נפש, שבת שבת ויהי נפש, שבת שבת ויהי נפש.
On page 46 or 164, if you're able, I invite you to rise as we begin the Amidah, the standing prayer together, a moment to lift ourselves up and to engage in, hello.
There it is.
So page 46 or 164. I said some really profound things while you couldn't hear me, trust me. Maybe. We'll sing the first few blessings together and then have some time for our own private prayer as well. We'll start together on page 46.
Adonai Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh HaKol, V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Le'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Hozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Givor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav le'Hoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, O mido melach, Melech memit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch
Adonai,
Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
we continue.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God.
Continue to ourselves through page 63, and when you've finished your prayer, you can be seated.
It's about as good as you could ask, right? Okay, so we figured it out. It's working good now, right?
Another week. More things in the news. Sometimes it feels like this whole world is just a very narrow bridge, a gesher tsar ma'od. And as you know, it can be shaky and narrow, but the trick is to keep going ahead, moving forward, not be afraid, to face your fear and go forward anyway, even if you feel afraid. We'll sing together on page 339, 643 in the bigger book, the words Gesher Tsar Me'od.
As we offer our prayer for healing. On page 253 or 371, Misha Berach, we offer healing of body and spirit, both physical and mental healing to all who need it. In particular, this week, we're sending healing prayers to Jerry Behar, Susan Carlson, Diane Denenberg, John Devine, Rudy Andrizzi, Norma Etten, Marty Gelman, Selena Glader, Valerie Goss, Diana Guthaner, Moritz Huppert, Donald Korn, Jordan Leon, Megan Martinez, Sophia Palisban, Peter, Rabbi Lori Phillips, Roberta Rudman, Stephen Abraham Simon, David Baruch Ben Simona, Julie Sutcliffe, Len Williams, and Katie Wilson. If there's someone that you're thinking of in need of healing, I invite you to share their names at this time as well. If perhaps you're watching at home because you're not feeling well, we're sending you prayers for healing as well on page 253 or 371.
As a rabbinical student in Jerusalem, where Rabbi Wattenmaker and I were students together at the Hebrew Union College, I remember being confused once when someone told me the high holidays were coming. I was confused because I knew I had a lot to learn about the Jewish calendar. Confused about how our people have a hybrid lunar solar calendar, different from the secular calendar and also different from the Muslim calendar. I was confused because we were still learning about the different Torah readings, including double Torah portions and different cycles of Torah reading, including the triennial cycle. I was mostly confused because they told me the high holidays were approaching and it was April. In Israel, this season is sometimes called the secondary high holidays, from Passover, which concluded on Wednesday, to Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, which begins next week. The following week has both Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut, Israeli Memorial Day and Israeli Independence Day. If we want to extend it just a little deeper into May, we could add Lag BaOmer, Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, and Shavuot, our festival of weeks. All of these take place on our calendar before Memorial Day. It is a packed time in our sacred calendar, the secondary high holidays. You know as well as I do that April is a month that just feels busier. Passover, Easter, Ramadan, spring breaks, opening day, taxes. If you want to go even deeper, and these are really, really important today, April 14th is National Pecan Day. It's National Reach as High as You Can Day. I'm not making this up. It's National Dolphin Day. It's National Pan American Day. And this is true, it's National Ex-Spouse Day. So I have no idea how you celebrate that one. So. And while our Torah ignores National Reach as High as You Can Day, the Torah's emphasis on a calendar has been one of the guiding and stabilizing components of Judaism. How important is the calendar to our people? As the medieval commentator Rashi alludes at the very start of his Torah commentary, in his response to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, the first mitzvah given directly to the Jewish people in the Torah is the obligation to create a calendar. In a few weeks, we'll read a section in the book of Leviticus that says, these are the set times of God, the sacred occasions, Mikra Kodesh, which you shall celebrate each at its important time. The Torah goes into precise detail on when we are to observe the festivals throughout the year, and there is a complete list of each festival with an extra emphasis on the importance of Shabbat in the Jewish calendar. And each of our actions, the way we mark time, is central to our existence as a people. Rabbi Fred Morgan of Temple Beth Israel in Melbourne, Australia writes, the calendar represents a continuum in Jewish thought, the creative response of the people to circumstances that have impacted on our experiences throughout history. In uncertain times, times that tested our resilience and challenged any idea of normalcy, we are blessed to have a firm calendar with which to observe those Modeh Adonai, those fixed times of God. I know for so many at Beth Am, during the early days of COVID, it was the Jewish calendar that helped maintain order despite the chaos. We stream in each Shabbat, each Friday night and Saturday morning. These seasons, even despite the chaos, brought about the holidays at their appointed times. And it's wonderful that as a community, we have added to our calendar. We continue to use it as a guiding force. The modern Jewish holidays that I mentioned before are for many as important and meaningful as the classic festivals. We mourn on Tisha B'Av and on Holocaust Remembrance Day. We celebrate the miracle of the Maccabees and the miracle of Israel. And we also continue to add to the sacred occasions of God through consecrations, through bar and bat mitzvah, through confirmations, and through memorial services. These actions, as Professor Abigail Ehrman of the Jewish Theological Seminary writes, remind us that we are part of something greater, an unfolding story, a historical past and a religious tradition that extends to our current moment and far into the future. As we're in our second high holidays, and this Shabbat is the one between Passover and Holocaust Remembrance Day, let me conclude tonight with a short story by Moshe Goldstein. In the days preceding Passover, the war was nearing its end. The relentless droning of American aircraft filled the German skies, following by the whistling hail of bombs that pounded Muldorf railway complex into rubble. Spared of destruction were the nearby forced labor camps where we toiled under the harshest conditions. We prisoners celebrated the mighty display of Allied destruction, but the anxiety of our German overseers ran high. The railway was vital to the war efforts, and orders were issued to immediately repair the damage. The Germans decided to send a group of 12 Jewish slaves to begin the cleanup. I knew the work would be excruciating, but I hoped that perhaps I would find some food amidst the rubble, so I volunteered to go. We arrived at a scene of utter devastation. Freight cars lay on their sides, smoke rising from gaping holes. Stretches of railing were ripped off the ground and tossed aside in twisted heaps. Nearly every building suffered extensive damage. It was clear some of the cars were unrepairable. I managed to disappear between the rows of trains that were still upright. It took a while, but I eventually found a boxcar from Hungary loaded with wheat in burlap sacks. Wheat, and so close to Pesach. God had granted us a good start, but how could I possibly smuggle the wheat into the camp? I knew I did not have much time, and I needed to think of a way to bring in as much wheat as possible without the guards knowing. Lugging the sacks through the main gates didn't even occur to me. The wheat would be confiscated and I would be shot without a second thought. I rummaged around some more and discovered 2 pairs of pants. I put them on and cinched the bottoms around my ankles with some rope. I was then able to pour a small quantity of wheat into the space between the two pairs of pants. Once my legs were filled with as much wheat as I dared carry, I began the long walk back to the camp. The bombings left the Germans rattled and fearful, and for the initial days following the air raid, the inspection of prisoners at camp gates was enforced almost half-heartedly. I was thus able to smuggle in a fairly large amount of wheat. We had wheat, but what now? Rabbi Sender Dierenfeld, a fellow inmate, and a Belzer Chassid offered to hide the wheat, and amazingly, he managed to keep it away from the prying German eyes. Later, an old mill was procured from somewhere. We ground the wheat in the dead of night, and using a clean piece of cloth, sifted the flour from grit. Next, we needed fuel for a fire. During one stint in the field, I asked everyone to find a stick and carry it back to the camp. The branches were conspicuous and caught the attention of a German guard. He motioned me over. "Why is everyone with a stick?" "What difference does it make? People want to walk around with a stick," I answered. We had flour and we had fuel. We were ready to bake matzah. One night just before Passover, we set about baking matzah. Near the barracks door stood a prisoner standing guard with fearful eyes. We lit a fire under a metal can which functioned as our oven, and the matzah baking, under Nazi noses, began. Reb Yaakov and I mixed the flour and kneaded the dough. We worked quickly, not only because of the strict 18-minute limits, but also because of the ever-present danger of being caught. We ended up with 20 small matzahs. On Pesach Eve, after returning from work, our small group sat down for the Seder. On wooden slats around us lay sleeping bodies, exhausted from the relentless work. For those celebrating the hardships of the Holocaust in daily camp, life melted away as we experienced the biblical redemption from Egypt. Unable to sit for long, we each ate an olive-sized piece of matzah, the taste of tears mingling with the matzah crumbs in our mouths. We could not sit leisurely and recite the Haggadah, but in those moments we each prayed, more fervently than ever before or ever since, the words that still ring in my ears: next year in Jerusalem. Shabbat Shalom.
We're in the midst of a period of counting known in the calendar as Sfirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer, counting from Passover, the beginning of the journey, to sort of the middle of the journey in some ways, but in other ways the apex, the receiving of Torah on Shavuot. We count 7 weeks in total. So if you turn to page 278 or 570, you'll see the words to prepare for the counting of the Omer, and then we'll count the Omer together. Last night was the 8th night, or earlier today was the 8th day of the Omer.
All right. There's a nice little nigun that comes with it, so we'll follow along. Talks about that this is a meditation that we say upon performing a mitzvah, the mitzvah of counting the Omer. And this one we say in the name of the unification of God and the Shekhinah. We are ready right now to perform this act of our Creator to count the Omer. It goes like this.
Sheva Shabbatot, Temi
Should we do it? Let's read the blessing in English since we just sang it in Hebrew, and then we'll count together. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom Tisha Yamim Shehem Shavua Echad U'Shnei Yamim LaOmer. Today is the 9th day, which is 1 week and 2 days of the Omer. Nicely done, everybody. Continue on page 282 with Aleinu L'Shabech at the bottom of the page. If you're able, please rise.
Aleinu L'Shabech Ladon HaKol Lateit Kedula Liotzer Breshit Shelo Asanu Kegoye Ha'aratzot Velo Samanu Kemishpechot Ha'adama Shelo Sam Chelkeinu Kahem Vegor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam Va'anachnu Koreim Umishtachavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's on your song sheets. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. All my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Well, sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. And so when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more war, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day. Oh, yo, 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 one day, one day, one day.
You can be seated. Word about our tzedakah this month. Our tzedakah box in April is going to the Ecumenical Hunger Program, a longtime friend of Beth Am. EHP's mission is to provide compassionate, dignified, and practical assistance to families and individuals experiencing economic and personal hardship. There's a tzedakah box. It's the big triangle box in the foyer. You can also donate online or through Venmo or Beth-Am. Encourage you to give generously if you are able to do so. Certainly a wonderful organization that we're so delighted to partner with throughout the year, but certainly in this month as well. As Rabbi Prosnit mentioned, this Monday night is the beginning of Yom HaShoah. Can you hear me? Yeah. This Monday night is the beginning of Yom HaShoah. You can join in for a virtual observance of Yom HaShoah with the entire Silicon Valley Jewish community. At 6 o'clock, you can find information about that on the Beth Am calendar. I invite you to join in for that important commemoration. As we prepare for our prayer of memory, offer these words that speak perhaps to Yom HaShoah coming up. On page 292, these words by Chaim Stern at the bottom of page 292. We have lived in numberless towns and villages, and in too many of them we have endured cruel suffering. Some we have forgotten, others are sealed in our memory. a wound that does not heal. 100 generations of victims and martyrs, still their blood cries out from the earth. And so many at Dachau, at Buchenwald, at Babi Yar. What can we say? What can we do? How bear the unbearable, or accept what life has brought to our people? All who are born must die, but how shall we compare the slow passage of time with the callous slaughter of the innocent, cut off before their time? They lived with faith, not all but many, and surely many died with faith in God, in life, in the goodness that even flames cannot destroy. May we find a way to the strength of that faith, that trust, that sure sense that life and soul endure beyond this body's death. They have left their lives to us. Let a million prayers rise whenever Jews worship. Let a million candles glow against the darkness of these unfinished lives. As I read the name of your friend or loved one, I invite you to rise and remain standing in their honor. This week, we're in the period of Shiva, the first week of mourning for Marlene Riebman, the aunt of Jay Hirsch, and Joseph Joe Jarzinka, the brother of Julie Gosler, brother-in-law of Jared Gosler, uncle of Zachary and Jackson. We're in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning for Elaine Hogan, Irene Shanes, Lucia Kashis, Barbara Tanari, Bob Gregg, and Ruth B. Kaufman. And this Shabbat marks the yahrzeit, the anniversary of death, for Abe Belstock, Newton Bugan, Lou Blitz, Avram Blumrosen, Roberta Borovoy, Max Breaker, Paul W. Brown, Doreen Colvin, Mel Elliott, Arnold Ettinger, Falk Finkelberg, Celia Fish, Evelyn Fries, Seymour Pinchas Gellerman, Ada Goldberg, Francis Gorelick, Annie Greenwald, Isidore Gutzeit, Ethel Hellman, Betty Kaplan, Martin Kaplan, Bernie Karpoff, Edna Bernice Katz, Mark Lael Kermit, Rose Kleiner, Paul Klink, Cecilia K. Klink, Mariasa Kotliar, Ray Kronik, Sarah Lehman, Mark Lester, Morton Levinson, Louis Benjamin Levy, Ruth Lobel, Albert Luff, David Mark, Stephen Maisner, Josephine Merrilman Neymark, Uri Mary, Myrna Mitchner, Sandy Middleman, Mary Jane Morrison, Stanley Newman, Jakob Nissim, Sylvia Ogus, Paul Orm, Barbara Hermanson Padnos, Ben Rappaport, Harry Rich, Julie Roach, Marion Rosenthal, Saul Russakow, Mel Sadoff, Rose Shine, Louis Schwartz, Flora Schenken, Alexander Silver, Bernice Stavisky, Edward Steinberg, Lionel Stone, Emilio Vasquez de Miguel, Maxwell Weinberg, Abe Weiss, Barry Wessler, Jean Weiss Williams, Wesley F. Williams. If there's someone that you're remembering, I invite you to rise and share their name at this time. And we rise as a community of strength and solidarity as we turn to words of Mourner's Kaddish, page 294 or 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kodesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates peace on high bring peace and comfort to all who are bereaved. And we say together, Amen. Conclude on page 321 or 625, prayer for peace, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu.
Right. I'd like to offer a special greeting to one of my colleagues here. Welcome, Richard Schwartz, Cantor Schwartz, welcome. All right, here we go. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu.
353.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam.
Magic.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Yay!
Have peace.